It's been a little over 2 months now since the global launch of Might Magic Elemental Guardians, and we've been learning quite a bit of stuff since that time. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 more things that I've picked up along the way to hopefully help you guys out when it comes to your progression. Stick around. What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again, bringing you a brand new video for Might and Magic Elemental Guardians. Today, we're going to be getting back into the list, learning 5 more things that you probably did not know about this game. Now, again, I say 5 more things because I already made a video about 2 weeks after global launch. So if you guys haven't seen that, I will leave a link up top there at the information circle on the right if you want to go ahead and click that, talking about a few things that I picked up right when I got started. Now, we've learned quite a bit throughout the time, and now I have a couple of things written down for you today. But again, if you guys are super in-game or been playing this and learned a lot of things that maybe I haven't talked about in the video, please do me the honor of leaving it in the description down below so that we can go ahead and share it with the community moving forward, okay? So first one that we have on our list is going to be the purging ability, or the ability to strip a beneficial effect, okay? So this stripping ability, purge, if you ever see this on a skill where you strip something and it sees, purge or whatnot, that specific ability is actually 100% irresistible. Now, this might be a little bit confusing because certain units have some kind of purging effect, but sometimes you do not see it do exactly what it is to do. And it basically comes down to the activation rate. So if you look at a skill similar to like the Earth Feather Core, right? The Earth Feather Core's second skill has 85% chance when maxed to go ahead and strip a beneficial effect. So because of the fact that it is not 100% activation rate, there is a small chance for it to miss, thereby making you feel like you got resisted or something like that. But if you are looking for a specific unit to try to counter something that you're seeing with, like again, Rat 10, this is something that we deal with quite a bit, or even Strength 10, having that passive immunity that you're constantly dealing with, then definitely look at your monster box and try to see which units that can provide you that purging ability that can assist you when it comes to your progression, okay? The second thing on the list is going to be the order of placement. Now, as you guys already know, this is a turn-based RPG, so there's going to be a certain amount of speed that's going to determine which one of your units are going to go first. But the question remains, if you have 2 units with the same amount of speed, who is going to go first, right? So basically, going from left to right when we're looking at PvE or PvP, that's going to be able to determine who is going to go first, depending on how you line it up. So for example, if I were to showcase my arena team, which is comprised of the Fire Golem Shaman, the Air Djinn, the Fire Kappa, and like the Fire Succubus, depending on how I place them, I got 2 units at 140 speed, I got 2 units at 139 speed. Depending on how I place it, I think the first slot is going to be the far left, and then it goes clockwise in that fashion. If I place it in that order, assuming that all of them have the same speed, then that is the order that they're going to go when you get into the arena map. Easy thing to do when you have the same speed, but if you want to make it a little easier, just try to upgrade that speed glyph a little bit more, maybe get that +1 so you don't have to worry about where you're putting them out, as sometimes you're going to find certain arena matches where you're going to have to mix and match your opponents in order to counter what you currently see, okay? Next one up is going to be number 3, which is the Revivers. Now, this is something that we actually talked about for a little bit off and on, but for the newer players coming out there, I definitely want to make you guys aware, as I do feel like this is something that definitely needs to be considered if you are looking to build a Reviver, okay? So obviously, when it comes to the quality or the content of this game, there's going to be certain stages that you're going to be definitely struggling with. However, when it comes to Revivers, the benefit of reviving is really, really nice. However, if you did not know, the reviving units can only revive certain units on that stage, right? So if something were to die on this stage, right, the 5th wave, yes, I can go ahead and revive it if I had a reviver, right? But if I were on stage 4, I lost my Earth Feather Core, and then I came to stage 5, getting up on the boss, and I'm like, wait, I need my Earth Feather Core back because that's my poison, that's my damage healer, that's going to assist me in clearing this very stage, but I'm not able to do so. Why is that? Because your revivers can only revive the unit on the stage that it is dies. So that's definitely something to keep in mind if you are looking to build a reviver. I understand that certain revivers have other mechanics that you want to incorporate in your team. It might provide you a little bit more synergy, or might make things a little bit easier. But unless you are struggling on a stage that you just know has a certain mechanic that doesn't allow you to push forward with it, then I probably would not use a reviver for your composition, just for the simple fact that you lose a little bit of value if you are not on the exact stage that you're looking to revive it on. I know what you guys are thinking. You're probably wondering, why in the world would they have this mechanic the way it is? Now, early on in the game, this is something that I actually was questioning because I was like, well, that's weird. Like, where's the value in bringing a reviver if you cannot use it in other stages leading up to a specific boss? But I think it kind of plays alongside the difficulty, making it definitely a little harder for you to get to where you need to be if you don't have the reviving mechanic. Of course, we have run into certain stages that definitely is super hard to deal with, so having a reviver may be useful, but again, it's very, very niche considering how it is built. One thing to kind of consider as well is that if you think about like a stage for exist, for example, like if we were all able to wipe, right? If you did not know, let's say we lose these 2 ads right now, we have to deal with the water dynamo, right? If you did not know, if you like literally wipe on this stage and then revive, you know, give up and pay the 15 seals, the stage actually resets and you have to start all over. So again, I think that kind of goes in line with regards to the difficulty. They don't want to make it so easy to the point where you can just kind of push through the content, clear what you can, and then revive, and then do it again, and revive, and then do it again. That would allow you to kind of clear the content a little bit faster or a little bit easier than you would expect. So I guess, you know, when I think about it a little bit more, it kind of goes in line with that difficulty rating, and being able to revive is nice, but it's definitely something that you want to use for a specific stage in the game if you are struggling. Now, let's not get it twisted. Now, if you are looking at building Reviver and you're like, okay, well, I want to incorporate it because it has some other kind of mechanic, keep in mind that if you are heavily reliant on a reviver in order to clear some content, then chances are your units, your glyphs, your synergy is probably not in line. So for the early to mid-game players, I probably would not be using or utilizing a reviver early on in the game. But again, for mid to late game, pushing onto the content, maybe you're struggling with something and you do have a reviver that not only has a reviving mechanic, but has something else that really synergizes well with your team, then that's when I would consider using one of those units, okay? Moving on to the 4th one, and this is something that I'm really excited about. If you did not see one of my videos a little bit back, we talked about the Frost Ravager, aka the Water Juggernaut. This kind of goes in line with this one, talking about the status reflectors. Units with abilities that are able to bounce back negative effects on your opponent, okay? As you guys know, similar to what we talked about in the previous video, these specific abilities can reflect debuffs that would generally not work on regular PvE bosses. Now, rip the dream, we just failed here, but forget this run. Forget this, right? You know what I'm going to do? Just for the people that were watching it, that we're talking about, just to talk about what we were talking. Just to talk about what we're talking. Just to talk about what did I just say? I don't know. But, okay. Well, fail. I was actually going to revise so you guys can see it, but whatever. Whatever, okay? So, getting back to the status reflectors, all right? Epic fail. Getting back to the status reflectors, right? It reflects the debuff that would generally work on the PvE bosses. So, getting in line with the Water Juggernaut, we were able to reflect freezes, stuns on specific bosses that generally would not work, right? With the recent changes of the bomb mechanics, it allows you to actually stun a PvE boss, and we thought that at that time, that was the only type of mechanic that would allow you to stun bosses that are generally immune to inability effects here, but you can actually reflect the skill back, assuming that the unit that is having the debuffs landed on them has the potential to have the buffs landed. If you guys didn't see, I was testing out some strength 10 runs early on in one of my streams this week, and one of the things that I was doing, I was kind of counteracting my team, bringing in the Water Juggernaut as well as the Fire Druid. So the Fire Druid was bringing immunity, which thereby stopped the Air Spectre from bringing in those poisons in order to essentially bounce it back. So I was kind of counteracting my own strategy, and it allowed me to see what I was doing wrong and try to come up with a different type of composition, maybe bring in either a double purge or a double cleanse to try to have a more consistent team in order to clear that contest. So keep that in mind, guys. If you're looking to use a status reflector, they are pretty strong, and again, if you're looking for something to utilize in your +1 spot, maybe you have another stage or whatnot that has bringing in a lot of AoE effects, or has a specific element that will target a unit that has status reflection, keep that in mind, because that is a really unique factor, a really unique mechanic that you can incorporate, okay? Last one of which is for number 5, is the elemental advantage or disadvantage. So if you guys are not completely familiar with this, basically, if you have an elemental advantage or disadvantage, it's going to be a plus or minus 30% increase or decrease in damage. But the funny thing of it is that it's just straight raw damage. Due to other games that people have played, especially on my channel, they have a question: is there any kind of decrease in anything else? For example, critical rate. There is no change in critical rate. It's just simply raw damage. So if you're talking about the aspect of just raw damage, and maybe you have some kind of unit that already does a high amount of damage, and you're looking at a composition that, let's say an arena that you have to deal with, and you're looking at a unit that essentially has the elemental advantage towards you. Is there something, do you have enough damage that you can still do? Do you have enough damage that you can put out that will still allow you to take out that unit, right? So for example, my specific arena team right now, like I said before, a Fire Goblin Shaman or some kind of attack bar booster, maybe like the Fire Arcane Bird. Then of course the Air de Jin, the Fire Kappa, and then just using the Fire Succubus in order to go ahead and take down each unit one by one. Now, I'm obviously going to be looking at the units or the team compositions that I either am neutral towards or I have the elemental advantage. But if I have certain teams that have the water type attackers that can definitely do a lot of damage or provide some CC effects, it kind of poses a question, do I really want to go after that? But if I'm looking at the first turn and I know that my team is set up to do a ton of damage, right? We got the speed, the critical rate, and the critical damage buff from the Air de Jin. We have the defense break and the hunting debuff from the Fire Kappa. That's a lot of damage that I can get from that first skill. And when it comes to the Fire Succubus, his second skill can ignore defense. So even though we'll have a reduced amount of damage, I still, depending on how I build my team, I still can do a ton of damage that could potentially kill a unit that I'm expecting to be relatively squishy. So the Fire Goblin Shaman is the one that I use as my attack bar reduction, but there actually is more of a reason now than ever to go ahead and incorporate the Fire Arcane Bird versus the Fire Goblin Shaman because of the fact that it provides an attack bar boost with the attack up, and it also has an elemental advantage buff for attacking, also for defending. So when you think about it, if I'm looking to get the first turn, or if I can't get the first turn without the attack bar buff, then I can use the elemental advantage buff and give me the elemental advantage towards the opponent in order to get the extra 30% damage. Or I can use my attack bar boost that goes alongside with the attack buff that will give me just a little bit more damage alongside the speed buff, the critical rate, and the critical damage that the Air de Jin's providing to just give me that little bit of an edge to take out that water unit and then move on with the rest of the team here. So again, a couple of things to consider. My apologies, I know that I kind of went in all ways, shapes, or forms here, but the elemental advantage aspect is really, really interesting. And even though we lose a little bit of damage, I still think it gives you an argument to consider who you are attacking if you know or if you understand that the unit that you're using can do a ton of damage, or you have a composition that's set up to provide you a ton of damage, like a cleave comp or whatnot. So that's going to be it, guys, for the 5 things that we're taking a look at for today. Again, there is a ton of things out there that we can all learn about or all learn from. So if you guys have a chance, please do me the honor of putting your feedback in the comment section down below so that we can collect another list and provide future videos down the road, okay? That's going to be it, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish, your ChildishPlays checking out. Take care, and we will see you all in the next one. I'm out.